All righty. Good morning, everybody.
Morning.
How are you?
Good
Good.
morning.
You're good. Happy Tuesday. Sorry for the delay. I updated my computer overnight, and then when I opened it this morning, I had to go through the whole cycle and reboot.
I wasn't freaking out that I sent out the wrong link or anything.
I like to keep you on your toes.
There you go. I'm awake now.
I'm a rookie at these things, so I'm glad you were a minute or two late because I just popped on when you got on.
Perfect. Well, we're happy to have you here, Jimmy.
Me too. Happy to be here.
Uh,
Morning.
how's business for everybody? Any new listings coming up? Any events, challenges, buyer needs?
Just sold a house, closes next Friday.
Awesome. Congratulations.
Working with
I
another
go ahead.
buyer that's uh, looking to find they're downsizing, and as soon as we find that house, I'll be listing their house in Sun Prairie, which is a nice bigger house.
Awesome.
I need a buyer in Mount Horeb. My listing in Mount Horeb is slow as I've ever dealt with in years.
Mount Horeb is a great area.
I know. I think it's just because there's so many properties for sale. They have a lot of listings, but um this is it's a wonderful property. I think the problem is that the third bedroom is in the lower level, which is a walkout. It's an egress window, everything like that. But the second bedroom upstairs is technically has to go downstairs to the shower because
Mm,
the other bathroom upstairs, there's a half bath, but there's um, the primary bedroom has its own bathroom. So there is a shower in the main level, but you have to go down the steps. I don't know. I can't figure out why it's not selling. I can't. But in time, just keep doing price reductions and eventually somebody will see the deal that it is, I guess.
yep. Do you think it was overpriced to start with?
It I don't know. We actually had an offer right out of the gate, but it had a subject to sale in Spring Green that had been um, for sale for like 40 days already at that time. And it made my sellers anxious and we didn't accept it. And then they didn't come back to it. They went to a different house when they got an offer. So that's the kick in the teeth. But
Yeah.
yep, yeah,
Joyce,
that's the hard one.
I can touch base with you to see what you've already done and like what still might be out there for ideas and stuff too.
That'd be great. I'd love that. Thank you.
Okay. I'll connect with you.
All right, sounds good. I appreciate that.
All righty. Anybody else?
Maybe that could be a training, like for new ideas to get listings moving. I'm sure others are
Yeah,
feeling that too.
yeah. I think what's interesting is like we were so used to having 60-day or less marketing plans, right? And now they need to go a little beyond that. One thing I keep sharing with everybody, and they go, "Oh yeah, I forgot about that." Don't forget that like calling agents that had listings or sold listings in the last 2 years in that given area, look them all up on Paragon and literally call the agents, letting them know about it. I know it sounds old school and it sounds whatever, but that's an entire week of your marketing plan, agent to agent networking. And every time I mention that, people are like, oh yeah, I can do that, and believe it or not, I mean, I know I'm mostly in commercial and a lot of deals get done because we make phone calls, but I think that tool is missed one, networking and calling agents.
I agree, Dan. I actually was talking to Iric the other day for those of you who don't deal with him from Nations Lending, and he said he was like, listing agents sell to buyer's agents. And I guess I never thought about it that way before, to be honest. Like he's like, that's one of your main target audiences.
Well, yeah, we all think that, well, the agent, they have Paragon, right? They have a safe search set up for their client, right? It just must automatically link them up, no matter what. It's like you'd be surprised how many times a phone call or oh yeah, maybe, and then they send it to their client and bang.
Yep, back to the fundamentals. I'll try to talk a little louder today. My speaker microphone just died, so I think this kind of pre-conversation brings up a good point because we're going to be talking about, right, how to be visible on AI searches, which is like totally new school, while also recognizing that the old school fundamentals do still work. But I think we're at a time in the market where you've got to be good at both things, right? We talk about often on these trainings, you've got to be good at selling real estate because you can't just stick a sign in the yard, throw it on Paragon, and let the listing sell itself. You still have to be, right, an expert at selling real estate, but you also need to be good at the new age technology piece. So we'll jump in. But this topic came up in conversation. I think Nancy and I were talking about it, maybe Brittany and I. Shannon and I talk about it often. Dan brings it up. But this shift to AI is something that, right, we all saw coming. We all knew that the age of AI was booming. But I think we haven't put a ton of thought into how it affects our real estate business. So just 18 months ago, beginning of 2025, only 17% of buyers were using AI as their first stop when researching, local agents or starting their real estate search. In that 18-month time span, that 17% has gone up to 67%. So 2/3 of buyers are reaching out to some sort of AI platform and saying, hey, who's the best real estate agent in Madison? I want to buy a house. Who should I work with in Baraboo? That's projected to go up to almost 80% by the end of the year. And 80% of transactions in Wisconsin are projected to involve an AI generated agent recommendation. That's crazy, right? This isn't something we need to think about in the distant future. It's happening right now. And so you have the opportunity to decide, do you want to be a part of the search results that these AI bots are generating, or do you want to let all that business pass you by? So we know, right, by the end of the year, 80% of all transactions are going to involve some sort of buyer-generated AI search, but only about 8.5% of agents that are practicing in any given community are showing up in those results. And about 50% of all the share of those search results is captured by the top 1% of agents. So you guys all know what SEO is, search engine optimization. It's what we had to do to get our pages to show up higher on Google, right? You knew how to do the keywords, you knew how to put stuff in so that when people searched on Google, they would find you. This is a totally different ballgame because right now what's happening is AI can only cite the stuff that it knows in a very specific format. And so it's that top percent of agents that are capturing the majority of the business, and it's not an evenly distributed share of search results. And right, almost 90% of agents aren't even showing up, even if they are the best agent in that community or area. And so we're going to try to fix that today and as soon as possible. I think it's really been kind of overall a cultural mindset shift, but one for buyers as well. Buyers don't want to just go on Zillow and start scrolling through listings and hopefully find something they like and then reach out to an agent. They're going to AI as their trusted advisor because they feel like, right, it's anonymous, they can get the information they need. And so these AI platforms are shaping which agents are getting recommended to the buyers that are starting their search on something like ChatGPT or Claude or Gemini. Further than that, right, the average buyer is asking almost 9 questions to their AI tool before narrowing it down to a short list of agents that they want to work with. We know that AI isn't always accurate, right? But buyers are now determining who they're going to work with. They're forming an opinion about you and they're showing up educated before you even know that they were out there looking for you, right? So whatever AI is telling them is now their first impression of who you are as an agent and what you can do to help them achieve their real estate goals, right? We've talked about in length over the last probably decade about how you have to have a website that looks really good. You have to have social media that looks good because that's your first impression to buyers and sellers in the marketplace. And we're really, really quickly shifting to a faceless, right, brandless, impressionless search result generated by these AI tools. It's why, so Zillow, Redfin, Realtor.com have all signed massive deals with platforms like ChatGPT and Claude to integrate their listings into those platforms. Those three sites are showing about 60% of all the listings that somebody's searching for on AI. And so it's critically important that we kind of work backwards here and say, hey, it's less about how I'm showing up on social media. Still important, right? That's a different training. But what does my agent professional profile look like on these major sites that are feeding these AI bots? If your profiles aren't up to date, you don't have a bio, you haven't claimed your sales, right? Your profile is just pretty much stock generic content on these sites. AI is skipping right over those. They're saying, nope, not an expert, doesn't know what they're doing, get them out of here, right? You don't even have a second chance. You have one opportunity for these bots to pick you up and recommend you to a buyer. And so this is why we have to fix it, and we have to fix it today. NAR came out with a study on AI generated leads in the real estate industry. And they're showing that leads that were generated from an AI platform are closing at nearly 4 times the rate of what's happening on Zillow. So you can pay for 100 Zillow leads and you might close 10 of them. You get 100 AI generated leads, you're going to close 40 of them, right? The conversion here is so much higher because these buyers and sellers are coming pre-educated. They've already made their decision. They know who they want to work with and they know which property they want to buy. Those higher closed deals are also closing at a way larger average commission compared to your standard kind of lead purchase or pay at close source. And again, right, I kind of touched on this earlier, but buyers that arrive to you via an AI portal have already done 30 to 60 minutes of research. Again, they know what they want, they know who they want to work with, they know what the process looks like because AI is educating them on these are the steps that you need to take to go buy a home. Obviously, the first one is find an agent you want to work with, find a property, here's what the transaction looks like. It's all of that kind of buyer consultation that we used to take somebody out for coffee and sit down with them for an hour to tell them how this thing works is now being done by AI really quickly and really efficiently. And so being invisible to these AI platforms isn't just a lack of exposure, you're leaving a lot of deals and clients and commissions on the table. And so there's 2 places that you need to think about how you can improve your visibility to these AI search bots. You don't have to overhaul your entire digital presence. Yes, I think websites are still critically important. Yes, I think social media is still critically important. But you've got to start thinking about kind of this third pillar of online exposure. And really, your AI visibility is coming down to 2 target areas, and both of them are really simple to improve. It's just most agents don't know that this is what they need to improve, so they're not doing anything. The first one is your profiles. I talked about this a little bit earlier, but you've got to be hyper focused on understanding what AI is seeing and pulling from your Zillow profile, your Realtor.com profile, your Google business profile. This is the quickest win. So we'll talk about your challenge at the end because I don't ever leave these trainings without challenges, but you've got to make sure all of your profiles are up to date, fresh headshots, fresh bios, all of your information is there. The second one is what content you're posting online. So if you use Bold Trail, we're going to shove it down your throat, probably more than you care to know. But you've got to start blogging, because it's agent generated content that these AI bots are looking for. They're looking for hyper local expertise. This is the compounding win, right? Every time you publish another piece of local expertise, you're going to build your authority over time and keep feeding these bots what it wants so that you keep getting recommended more and more. So you're going to do both of these things by the end of today. You're going to update your profiles, and then you're going to build some content. I want you guys, if you have your phones or computer or whatever you're dialed in on, to open up. Let's just start with your Zillow profile. If you don't even know how to get to your Zillow profile, we should probably start there first. But I want you to look, how many reviews do you have? How many of those are recent reviews? And this is the one that's going to set you apart. Are your reviews specific? Do they name exactly what you helped that client with? Or are they just like, Beth was really great to work with. She answered her phone and we had a great experience? Or are they specific where they say, hey, I was a first-time home buyer and I was uneducated in the home buying process. Beth was detailed, she was thorough, she was an expert at helping first-time home buyers like me achieve their real estate goals. Right? Because those new AI keywords that we need to think about are things like first-time home buyer, right? So when AI is talking to somebody who says, I'm a first-time home buyer, who should I work with? It's going to scour the internet and it's going to say, oh, hey, this review mentioned Beth as an expert in first-time home buyers. Let's recommend her, right? If it reads the review that says, Beth answered her phone and we were really happy and she was great to work with, it's going to pass her right by. And so the agents that are winning the AI battle right now are people that have, 30 plus reviews that are specific. That's what AI is looking for. If your agent profiles on Google Business or Zillow or wherever has, a few old reviews from 2015, you're not going to even be found. The second one to look out on your profiles is, what does your bio say? Is it, I'm an expert at real estate. I love helping buyers and sellers find their home. Blah, 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 right? I'm a dedicated professional. I have a client-focused approach, right? AI is not picking up vague language. It's passing over all of that, and it's looking for specific things that it can tie you to whoever's searching. And so I want you guys to look at your bio and rewrite it. Hell, even throw it into ChatGPT or Claude and say, help me rewrite my bio with specific information so I can be found by AI bots like yourself. And keep refining it until you get something that's specific, truthful, authentic to who you are, right? Don't just post a bio out there that has the AI generated keywords in it if you can't actually back it up. But update your bio so that you're being found by these AI searches. And the third one on, Zillow, Realtor.com, all the major platforms, you can go in and claim your past sales. So you can say, oh yeah, 123 Main Street, I was the buyer's agent on that, and it will assign it to your profile. Unclaimed sales, right, are invisible to these search engines. They don't know who sold it or who is the listing agent. And AI tools are heavily weighing transaction history. So these bots know, okay, you sold 10 houses in Wisconsin Dells in the last 12 months. You probably know what you're doing. So as you're auditing your profile, make sure you're going back and claiming all of your past sales. It's already business that you've earned and closed. Make sure you're claiming it so that it's actually working for you to generate future business. Shannon put together a really great profile audit a few weeks ago. We had sent this out. But again, this is what I want you to do as you're thinking about updating your profile. Again, this is the quickest win. Make sure it's done on Google Business, on Zillow, and on Realtor.com. Start with those three. Claim your past sales. Send out a review request to your 3 most recent clients if you haven't gotten them. Text them or email them. I'll give you a script on the next slide, but get those most recent clients to give you specific reviews. And then again, rewrite your bio with what your real specialty is. What are you doing to stand out from all the other agents in the marketplace? Replace all of that generic language with what you're actually doing, right? First-time buyers, acreage within Dane County. I'm an expert at selling Milwaukee condos, right? It's putting together that specificity in your bio that's going to get you found in these searches. So if you want, scan this QR code. There's a whole spreadsheet of different things that you can go through and check off to make sure that all of your profiles are up to date. I encourage you guys to get this done today. Sending out requests for your past clients to review you. This is a really good prompt because it prompts your client to mention what you actually worked on together, right? It wasn't just, Caron was a great agent. We were happy to work with her, 10 out of 10. It says, hey, Steve, I'm so glad we got you in your new home. If you have 2 minutes, a quick review on Zillow or Google would mean a lot to me. If you could mention what we worked on together, put in what you actually worked on, it will help future buyers find the right fit even more. Here's the link to my review. It works because you're asking them to name the specific or actual process that you went through with that client. They could mention a challenge that they solved, that you solved, or the specific neighborhood that you found them a house in, right? It's way better than just the generic normal review most people leave. Riley had a great review from a client, was that a couple weeks ago? And it said, and she didn't even prompt this, it was genuine.
Yeah, he had emailed me and I didn't know how to respond, but I responded with a really nice thing that said, hey, if you don't mind, would you just copy and paste this into a Google review for me?
Yeah, but it said really specific stuff, right? Riley was thoughtful, great to work with. This was an estate sale. We're all living out of town, blah, 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 right? It was really specific to the listing that she had just helped these clients sell and mentioned, right? Estate, out of state sellers, right? All of these specific things that aren't just your generic, Riley helped us sell our house and was awesome to work with. That's now going to start feeding these bots. And so when somebody says, hey, my parents have passed away, we need to settle their estate, who is the agent to work with? It's going to go, oh, hey, Riley has this review about working with an estate. Let's recommend her. And so the more you can get your clients to leave you specific reviews about the journey that you guys went on together, the better. So that's kind of the first thing you need to update, right? Your profile and your reviews. The second one is content. And it's content that isn't just, again, a generic blog, but AI and even Google's recent algorithm update is rewarding hyper-local, experience-driven content. And so not all content is, created equal, if you will. Because again, just like your reviews, the generic content is getting ignored. If you put together a neighborhood guide that could really describe any city or zip code in America, they're going to say, nope, this is too generic. If you say something right, downtown offers a vibrant urban lifestyle. AI goes, yeah, duh. That could be any city in Wisconsin. I already know that. I could have already said that. It's again this specific content that's getting cited in these AI searches. So name the actual quirks of the specific street, micro market conditions. It signals to these AI tools, right, that you have the authentic local knowledge that portals or even AI itself can't generate or can't replicate. We know that the majority of people are still using Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini like a Google search engine, right? So if you're posting content that says, here's what it looks like to buy a house, Google and AI are going, yeah, duh, we already know that, right? But if you can create content that's the very specific steps that you're going to take a first-time home buyer through, That's where you need to go. You've got to have that ground level agent insight that only you as an agent in that area or that expertise know about. And so this is the test I want you to ask yourself every time you're producing content to put on your blog. Run it through this single filter sentence. Ask yourself, right? Could this sentence only be written by someone who actually knows this market? If you can say yes, great, publish it. If you say, nope, a quick Google search could have told them the same thing, start over, right? So for an example, you might type something that says, downtown Madison offers a vibrant urban lifestyle with easy access to amenities. Again, that could be any town in America. Everybody knows that. It's not citable because it's not hyper specific enough to Madison locally. Instead, say something like, homes on the east side of the Capitol Square lose afternoon light earlier than the west side. Worth knowing before you fall for a listing photo taken at golden hour. Right? That kind of information is only known to people who actually know where the sun sets on which side of the Capitol. That is what I'm talking about when I talk about hyper-specific local knowledge. That is what is feeding AI the best, and that's what's getting you shown up higher and higher in these search results. And so, again, challenge 1, update your profiles and reviews. Challenge 2, put out a piece of content. I want you to pick one hyper-local detail. One specific thing about a neighborhood, a street, an area that you're working that only somebody that works in that area actually knows. Right? Kind of a tangent here, but I feel like we experience this when an agent from an hour away comes and lists a property in your town. Right? And you read the listing description and you go, wow, this guy knows actually nothing about Sauk City. Right? We do that on a human to human basis, but that's what AI is doing. It can tell when you don't know what you're actually talking about when it comes to the content you're putting out. And so instead, flip that on everybody else who's still being generic and get hyper focused. So I want you to think about one community you serve or a neighborhood or area and write down a single sentence that a buyer would actually want to read that would be helpful to them and that is local specific. Make sure it passes this content test, right? Could this only be written by someone who actually knows this market? Or could this only be written by someone who knows this neighborhood? It's the little things, right, that are going to make you stand out. You know, let's say Beth lives in Winsong in Baraboo, right? She could do a content piece about Winsong, and it's not, hey, this is a great neighborhood that was developed in 1995 and has 85 houses in it, blah, 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 right? All of that is searchable. Instead, she could put out content that says, welcome to this wonderful neighborhood. Did you know every winter we do, what are they called, Beth? Luminaires? The Winsong Luminaires. It's a wonderful community event where all the neighborhoods or all the neighbors line the streets of our neighborhood with beautiful candles, and it invites hundreds of people to drive through to get into the holiday spirit. Right? Beth knows that because she's local to that neighborhood. She's an expert there. It's so much more specific than just generalized content. And when you write your first sentence about whatever area you're going to produce content on, I want you to run it by a partner, right? Maybe it's somebody in the office. Call me, I'll hear you out. Is it specific enough or is it still generic? Give somebody the honest feedback when they're asking you this, because if it's still too generic, you need to go back and tighten it up. Keep revising it until you get it specific enough that only you, as the expert of that area, could have written it. So, this week's action items. Again, don't try to do everything overnight, but start with the biggest, easiest wins first. Claim your past sales on Zillow and send out review requests to the last 3 people you worked with. Rewrite your bio with your actual specialties. Right? Any agent can say they're an expert agent and, have a ton of experience and love working with buyers and sellers. Rewrite your bio and get that updated everywhere. Update it on Google, Zillow, your Mac Center profile. no more generic real estate language. And then write your hyper-local content piece. I want you, again, just start with that first sentence and then flush it out until it gets really specific and then build out the details behind it. And log your progress in your profile audit. Get that QR code. We can post it again in the Facebook page. But go through that profile audit and update your profiles to make sure that everything is up to date, specific, relevant, and I blanked on the last word. Specific and relevant. Update your profiles, work through that profile sheet. And it's right, these small, consistent wins. Put it on your calendar, time block an hour a week to generate content. The more blogs and content you can get on your website, the better. I feel like blogging was like 10 years ago, right? It was so 2015. But it is really rapidly coming back as an important piece of standing out online, right? Because blogs are great. They're going to feed SEO, they're going to feed Google and all the other search engines, but they're now one of the most important puzzle pieces in feeding the AI bots. And so generate content and get it out. It doesn't have to be page long, blog posts. Keep it short and sweet, but the more you can put out, the better. And I think, right, I'm going to encourage you guys to do this as soon as possible. If you can't get it done today, get it done tomorrow. Because the agents that are doing this now are already ahead of the game compared to the agents that are going to start even next week or the following month. You are going to build a structural advantage into your business by being able to be found by these platforms. And the more they're searching you now and getting your relevant information fed into their systems, right, again, it's compounding. And so they're already saying, okay, Jim's an expert in Sun Prairie, Joyce is an expert in Poinet. The more you're feeding them and the sooner you start feeding them, you're building an exponential advantage compared to somebody who's going to start next month. And so we talk about often, right, when it comes to things like blogs or videos, there's a hesitation to make sure that everything is perfect. But here I'm going to say, right, progress over perfection. You've just got to start feeding this monster what it actually wants. Stay up on your review requests. Make sure you're getting those from your clients every time you have a closing. Make sure you're consistently posting content. Change your bio up way more often than the majority of us do, right? I probably haven't rewritten my bio in 6 years, but I've got a lot more experience. I've gone through a lot of different situations and scenarios and client types throughout the years. Update your profile as your business evolves. And know that when these buyers are being paired with you on AI, they're already coming pre-educated, already motivated, and they're already probably halfway there to buying or selling a property. And so it's important to understand, hey, it's worth putting my time and effort into being found by these bots because these leads that I'm going to get for it are closing at 4 times the average of all the other leads, and they're coming at a higher commission rate. And so if there's anything that you can do to set your business up for success now and into the future, it's doing these 2 things: updating your profiles with reviews and past sales and generating hyper-local content. So I know I give you guys a challenge every week, but I feel passionate about this one actually getting done. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. Shannon's also great when it comes to AI, so reach out to her as well. But the sooner you can start, I feel like it's like investing, right? The sooner you can start investing, the more money you're going to have at the end of your, career. Same thing here. Invest in making sure that you're found by AI bots because it's going to help you improve year over year and give you a bigger head start on everybody else who hasn't even thought about this yet.
Hey, Reagan, can I ask a question?
Yep.
There isn't a program out there like getting reviews. I always feel bad saying, hey, can you do this Google? Can you do Zillow? There's no way with Google or Zillow to load them yourself, correct?
Correct.
There's no company out there that says, I'll take your review and I'll post it on all these sites?
No, Shannon might have a different answer, but to my understanding, they don't ever let you upload your own reviews because they want to make sure that they're actually user generated. Instead somebody can just create a bunch of accounts, beef up their reviews with fake profiles. And that's, I think, what they're trying to prevent.
Yeah. I've just been working on Google reviews.
Just like write a review and say like add to Google, Zillow, Facebook, whatever. Select where they want to do reviews.
Yeah, Testimonial Tree used to help us with that because they only had to leave one review and then it could syndicate out.
That's what I'm looking for, something like
There's
that.
also a new program. I don't think it's live yet, but it's through Marketing Studio. And it's called Easy Review or Review, Simple Review, something like that. I haven't done a ton of research into it, but it's a similar program, right? Where it will automatically send out review requests to your clients after you close a property. So I'll do some more research on that and figure out what it looks like.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Great question. Anything else? Alrighty. Well, I hope you guys have a good week. Thanks for showing up this Tuesday, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Thanks, Reagan. Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you. Bye.
Thank you.